Ladies and gentlemen, seekers of light and secret knowledge wherever you may be, you are listening to Points of Light Radio, the podcast dedicated to taking you past the apron and behind the closed doors of lodges everywhere. And here is your host, Stan Miller.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum. Ad Nastana. It's a pleasure to be back with you here on Points of Light Radio. And continuing our journey, we took with this guest in a previous segment of Points of Light Radio. And that guest is my new friend and your new friend, Zachary Castillo. If you recall, in Mr. Castillo's previous visit, he shared some exciting news about his work at revamping the Aaron Lodge number 4 in Scotland, Arkansas, as well as trying to recharter the Odd Fellows Lodge number 7 in Heber, Arkansas. But today, Mr. Castillo is going to continue where he left off by talking about his journey into the encampment and his work at rebuilding the encampment in Scotland. Now, just to give you some a brief recap of the encampment is an appendant body or higher branch of the Independent Order of Odd Fellows. Membership is open to all third-degree Odd Fellows members in good standing. There are 3 encampment degrees: the Patriarch degree, the Golden Rule degree, and the Purple degree. And I'll allow my guest to expand a little further on those. The branch aims to further the work of Odd Fellowship and impart the principles of faith, hope, and charity. Okay, that is the encampment motto. So, why explain any further here? Let's go talk to Mr. Castillo, because I can't wait to continue this journey. I really can't. But, as I always ask you, are you still thirsty for knowledge? Are you still searching for the light? Then just trim your lamp and follow me. Mr. Castillo, welcome back to Points of Light Radio.
Hey.
Now, you're a member of the Aaron Lodge number 4 in Arkansas, and you've been here before. And you're here to talk about today your you recently joined the encampment.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I want you to tell me about that, because this was quite a little journey. They don't have the encampment in your jurisdiction, or at least not where you are in Arkansas. So you had to go a little ways to get there, didn't you?
Yeah, well, we do have an encampment, but they didn't have enough people to actually meet. It was still chartered. But they didn't have enough people to actually even hold a meeting.
How sad.
So, what we had done is, they had an effort to try to get a couple of them, the encampment, things such as the encampment, the Rebeccas and the Patriarchs Militant, all that kind of revived.
Yeah.
And so one of those first steps that I could take was the encampment. They didn't have enough people who could do the degree. Obviously, they didn't have a quorum of people to be able to hold a meeting. So I worked with the Dallas encampment, and we ended up going out to Dallas.
Took a road trip.
Yep, took a road trip. Me and 2 of the other members went out, got the degrees done. They did a degree rally. Ended up, there were 17 members that they brought in one night for the encampment.
Wow.
During that little degree rally that they had.
Where were the other people from, if you don't mind me asking?
Pretty much all of the others were from the jurisdiction of Texas, but they covered like the entire state. So you had people from Austin, you had people from Plano, you had people from Dallas, you had people from Fort Worth. You
No.
name it. If there was a place, they came from there. Um, and the age range was incredibly broad
Nice.
that it covered. So it wasn't just a bunch of older people or a bunch of younger people. It was a very good mix of all of it.
So now I meant to ask you as well, is there a degree system uh, to the encampment?
Yes, yes, there are 3 degrees. So,
Did they
for
put
the
you
Odd
through it
Fellows,
all in one night?
yes, yes, we
Okay.
did. All 3 of them. The Odd Fellows, there's technically 4 because you have the initiatory degree. Then you have the first, second, and third. Then the encampment, there is only 3. We ended up going through all 3 of them. Uh, ended up, what we did is for the first 2, they had uh, essentially 2 voluntary people. I was one of them who went through the first one, then and everybody else watched. Then the second one again had another person. It was not me, and everybody else watched. And then for the third degree, that is one of those that is very impactful, and everybody went through it. Um, all 17 people, and that took the longest because they had to walk every single person through it.
How long did the
Uh,
course take?
so we started at about 7:30, somewhere around there at night, and we did not finish until about midnight.
Wow.
Yes, it was a very long endeavor. Um, but I tell you what, I would not have traded that for any other way. I got to meet so many brothers and sisters. It was incredible. That that is probably the best way it could have ever gone.
Now you've gone through your Odd Fellow degrees, your basic lodge degrees, and now the encampment degrees. How would you explain the encampment degrees? Are they much more eloquent? Are they, how do they differ?
So I feel like with the Odd Fellows, it starts out with, giving you some basic layouts for, the foundation portions of Odd Fellowship. When it comes to the encampment portion, I feel like we are getting into some much deeper thought.
Okay.
Uh, Definitely some more esoteric ideas.
Hmm.
Very, very more depth of esoteric ideas. The Odd Fellows, that portion, it's really teaching you about their basic
Yeah.
fundamentals. This one just goes so much further into those and really gives you some more insight and some more tools, so to speak, as to what it is all about at the end of the day, what you're all there for at the end of the day, and the journey that you all go on.
So what were the qualifications to join the encampment?
So for Odd Fellows currently, all you have to have is the third degree, have to have obtained the third degree in an Odd Fellows Lodge. And then you are available and able to join the encampment and proceed with the encampment degrees.
Now, you said you didn't have enough members where you in Arkansas where you are. Are you able to meet now with the encampment? Do you have enough members?
Yes, so they were shy by one person.
And
Ended up, yes, and so now we have a total of 7 people. So now they are also obviously able to portray degrees. So not only did this enable them to start meeting again, but now we have the ability to start building again.
exactly.
Um, and that was one of the things, is enabling the ability for us to build the membership.
So now, how long would these encampment meetings you're holding now? How long are they?
I haven't actually attended one. We have not set one up because we're still having to actually reorganize this. It's Leslie Encampment pretty much from the ground up. They haven't had consistent meetings in any way, shape, or form. And we're really having to start pretty much from the bottom. So we've been working together, seeing what we can do. We will probably be holding our first meeting here in the month of April for the
Excellent.
encampment, and start working together on what we can do, what events or things we can start doing. Again, the public perspective is a big deal when it comes to anything like that. So got to kind of get yourself out there and known, because somebody's going to say, "Ooh, what's that?"
Has anybody else shown any interest, by the way, in the encampment in your lodge?
Of getting it back up.
Yeah, or even
Yes.
joining. Yeah.
Yes, a lot of pretty much everybody is interested. The issue was the travel. We had people that didn't really want to do the traveling portion of it.
Don't have to do that now.
Yes, exactly. They don't have to do that now. This was, again, a revival.
Yes, it is.
Really, what happened was just members that were a part of it just passed away. So it wasn't that they didn't want to have meetings. It was that they lost the amount of people to hold meetings.
You can't let that happen in any.
Yes. So they've already got everything that they would really need to do: degree portrayals, conferrals of degrees, all of that. It's just whenever you drop below that quorum, you can no longer
Mhm.
open, encampment sessions, anything like that, or do degree conferrals. So the big portion of this was enabling the ability to start that, because you can't do it without the right tools. And that's what we did, is we went out to go find those, metaphorically.
So, I've I've heard people say with fraternalism that you learn more about yourself as you go along. Now, what are you learning as you go along with Odd Fellowship? I'm sure you're finding that there's a lot more to Odd Fellowship than people think. Are you finding that? Like, are you really, like, everybody talks about the reason they joined Freemasonry, there were so many different appendant bodies, things you can do, but I think you're probably finding that with Odd Fellowship, there's so much you can do.
Oh, yeah. One of the biggest things that I have found, and again, Freemasonry is the same type of thing, but you have to remember, Freemasonry has a ton of appended bodies, a ton of very small, much smaller appended bodies.
Yeah.
Whereas in the Odd Fellows, you've got the Rebeccas, you've got the Odd Fellows, you have the Encampment, and you have the Canton or the Patriarchs Militant. And that's it.
Well,
Unless
there's
you go
also
into some
Odd
of the.
Riders, and there's other
Yes.
branches of Odd Fellowship too. And I think that's
Yes.
something that too many Odd Fellows, even in the Odd Fellowship, I think sometimes that's something they're not really aware of.
Yes. You have a lot of the other much smaller ones,
And they
but the
need to promote
four
it better.
main. That's right. That's right. A lot of that is promotion. Because obviously now you have things that are, such as the Muscovites and
Mhm.
Amos,
Yeah.
which is, it's not a official Odd Fellows,
Oh.
but it's, again, you have to be an Odd Fellow to be a part of it, that type of thing. So it's those types of things, like you said, a lot of people have forgotten about, or they've kind of been lost to the times, that type of deal.
And they need to do a better job. I think you'll agree with me. Odd Fellowship really needs to do a better job of promoting it. But I think you'll agree with me because I once said in one of my segments, if you don't join at least one appendant body of the lodge that you belong to, or whatever organization, you really are missing out. I think you'll agree with that. The way you describe this encampment is just a beautiful thing.
Yes, yes. I tell you what, if there was anything that I'd suggest anybody to ever go do, is go and get that encampment. Go through the encampment degrees, join the encampment. Because even if you were to not have, the ambition to go, say, join the Patriarch's Militant after, or go through the Canton or anything, if there is anything that there is major building on, it is the encampment. The One of the big things that I enjoyed, and again, results may vary on this because of the circumstances that I had, but the ability that I had to go out to Dallas and meet up and talk to all these members that I had never met before, and we're all sitting there, eating pizza and laughing and telling jokes and whatnot. That's just not something that you get, everywhere.
And I think you'll agree with me too. Would you agree with me when I say, like, some of the appendant bodies that I've belonged to from these lodges, you don't just get a degree, you get a lesson, and it's a lesson for life. It's more than just from your primary. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Certainly, especially when it came to the encampment. Again, it just delves so much deeper into some thinking, makes you think a lot harder. To me, the Odd Fellows portion, there wasn't so much to think about. It was just kind of told.
Isn't it?
Whenever you get into the encampment, you really have to start pondering and thinking, oh, the symbolism behind those types of things, and kind of uncovering that. It's just incredible. Especially the degree portrayal was incredible. If there was, I've been told by many people, if there is anything that you ever go do, it's get the encampment degree. And they were right. Go through the encampment, get the degrees. That was unbelievable what we saw and what we went through.
Mr. Castillo, I appreciate your time tonight. All the best to you, the encampment, and thank you for sharing this with us. This has been just a wonderful, wonderful time, and all the best to you. And I believe it's the Leslie Encampment that you're trying to revive.
That's correct.
Thank you, sir. There you have it, brothers and sisters. Mr. Castillo discussing his journey into the encampment. Right? First of all, I reiterate what I've said before. There is something for just about everybody in Odd Fellowship, but also it is great to hear that there are those who will not only join fraternal bodies today, but will go to great lengths to help them out. I mean, this gentleman basically went on a road trip to Texas to really help revamp, to not only to join the island. It wasn't just about him. Let's never forget. It was him trying to not only join the Leslie Encampment, but to expand it. I mean, the guy, like I said, he took a road trip. Right. And the other thing is, I love his passion for those Odd Fellowship encampment degrees that I just love the fact, and you've heard me say this before, and you heard me say it in this segment, that when you don't join at least one appendant body of your lodge, you kind of miss out. And those degrees he went through sound absolutely beautiful, right? And and there again, to be fair, it wasn't just him. Those brothers and sisters that put him through those encampment degrees, they took a whole night doing it from about 7 through to midnight. They were willing, because it wasn't just him. There was a number of them. They found a way to make this work. And this is another thing you've heard me talk about here on Points of Light Radio. These fraternal bodies need to do what they have to do to bring people in and to help them move up within the organization. And they did that. I have to take my hat off to the Odd Fellows on this one. These gentlemen traveled a great distance to get there, and they made it worth their while. And it's a two-way street now, because now these gentlemen can go back to their parent encampments, and not just their parent encampments, even their parent lodges, and use that experience and help them out, right? Really provide some leadership. I think that's wonderful. You will be hearing from him again. Like I said, this is the second in a series of interviews I did with Mr. Castillo. Okay, but you're going to love this. This guy has done what he could for this organization. It's wonderful to see people like this involved in it. That's all I have time for this particular segment, though, brothers and sisters. As usual, before I go, I want to remind you that this podcast is available on both YouTube and Spreaker. Please share, like, and subscribe when viewing Points of Light Radio on YouTube. I also welcome your comments and input. You can follow Points of Light Radio. I encourage you, in fact, to follow Points of Light Radio on my Facebook page at facebook.com/Points of Light Radio. Go there and like and follow that page, please. My Twitter handle is at PO Light Radio. You can see the link to my Spotify channel as well as my Points of Light Radio store. Brothers and sisters, this has been an absolute pleasure bringing this particular segment and fellowshipping with this guest. Until we meet again, just step into the light.